What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and it looks like my voice is back with no cracks, no pops, no anything. So yeah, let's go with it. Without further ado, let's dive in the video and talk about all the new decks you can expect in the coming BT-17, shall we? I figured we started off with a old but goodie. Digimon got a lot of new support in this set, a whole new line because of its movie debut. The set was based around the idea of the movies, and it delivered nicely. First off, the new Digimon is one of your Calamon or Tamers with Takato in its name is played. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DPS. If you didn't delete, you gain a memory. So this kind of helps to keep your Takatos be a little bit cheaper, especially because now we're going to focus on the 3-drop Takato, and this one will give us the same thing. So yeah, both of the Takatos are going to be 3 costs, making them 2 costs to be played, especially if we don't have to worry about popping anything. Worst case, we get to pop in Ukumon to get them off the board. So keeping that in mind, we kind of just went for search availability, a rush combo that just basically tries to get us lethal. The new Growlmon's really interesting because while you have 0 or less memory, add 2000 DP to the max DP based deletion effects can be deleted. So this just helps out, especially Growlmon here, for if it's under another stack and you digivolve onto one of your Guillemons or something like that. Now delete one of your opponent's Digimon 4000 DP or less. If this Vex didn't delete, this Digimon gets plus 3000 DP for the turn. That 4000 DP could be 6000 DP very quickly. So keeping that in mind, how we're going about it, the new support is really nice, especially like War Grabmon. When in effect deletes an opponent's Digimon, you may unsuspend this Digimon with Galamon in its name. So yeah, this allows multi-attacking with your stack. The new Galamon is nothing to scoff at either, because if it didn't delete, it gets plus 3000 DP and gains blocker until the end of their turn. So yeah, Galamon has some decent defense value here. And then your turn, while you have 0 less memory, this isn't affected by your opponent's effects. This gives a small protection, which Galamon definitely needed, especially getting those first couple swings in just to tear through security. Really does matter. And it got a movie kind of thing, trap its own, you know, you may play one Guillemon or Takato from your hand or trash without paying a cost and then place this in the battle area. When opponent's level 5 or higher Digimon is played, one of your Digimon may digivolve into a Digimon with Galamon in its name from your hand without paying its cost. Not a bad trade-off. Galamon, also Crimson Mode Ace, one of the few level 7s of the set that focuses on Blast evolving, but really it is a very powerhouse in itself. So on play, when digivolving, choose any number of your opponent's Digimon whose total DP adds up to 15,000 or less, delete them. So good board clearing, great presence, and then when attacking, for every 10 cards in both players' trash the top card opponent's security stack. Not a bad trade-off. Crimson Mode Ace definitely comes in. Being able to control board state is really solid. But at the end of the day, we just have to go with it, right? So this is the first starting point, a good start point for anybody that wants to play Galamon next set. Then we do have Ancient Greymon, another good starting point. A lot of new tech came in, especially now you can dust off your promo Agunis to be able to warp into your Ancient Greymon. Really solid. This Agunimon plus the Burning Greymon kind of combos itself. If you have Burning as Digievolution, or if you have a blue or green Digimon or Tamer in this Digievolution, you may digivolve into Ancient Greymon from your hand. From a Digievolution cost 3, ignoring its Digievolution requirements. If digivolved by this effect, delete at the end of turn. Gives a lot of decent boost, especially because what's really nice about Burning Gray, you can digivolve into a Goonie with its own effect, making it a 0 cost evolve, and then swing in for, you know, because it's doing the when attacking. Sets up Ancient Greymon himself. Security on play, when digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with as much or less DP than this Digimon. Return one Tamer and one Digimon with hybrided traits from trash. Then you may play one Tamer card from your hand without paying its cost. And then you can Digicross as well as an option with your Goonies and Burning, which at the end of the day is not terrible. Especially the new Takuya is pretty decent as well. Starting main phase if your opponent has a Digimon gain a memory. But it also gives the inheritable piercing, which this deck really needed at the end of the day. Especially on a Tamer going into Burning Gray, giving that piercing with Ancient Greymon is going to be a lifesaver. So Basically, the deck plays out the same. Nothing too crazy. It is hybrid. Take out as much security as physically possible, and just make sure that if it passes to your opponent's turn, you get it back. And then you can kind of just rush again. Then we have Shine Greymon. Shine Greymon got a few new toys, especially with the Awakening of the Sun. You may play one Marcus or Rhyme from your hand or trash without paying its cost, and place this in the battle area. When one of your tamer is deleted, return to the hand delay, one of your Digimon may digivolve into a card with Shine Greymon's name without paying its cost. Not a bad trade-off, especially because this definitely focuses to use this Shine Greymon more, because it plays the Marcus that you just bounce to hand. And then all turns when this card would leave the battle area by an opponent's effect by returning one yellow tamer in your hands, preventing it from leaving the battle area. Really solid, especially if they're trying to remove this. You can then blast evolve into the burst mode. That basically, you may play one tamer from your hand without paying its cost. And for the turn, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 5,000 DP for each of your tamers. So being able to minus their threat down is huge, especially in certain matchups against like Magna X Antibody. Just really good to have across the board. But you know, Awakening of the Sun, physical trainings, you know the drill here. Like, even have Marcusing just to do Marcus shenanigans. Then we do have Ancient Greymon. Sadly, the blue base isn't as popular. Red base kind of just gets the job done because the draw benefits from the Koromon here, plus like Muchimon, you know, Gutsumon preventing, and then you have the Uku Rush package. You kind of just get in a lot of damage really quick, and then you get your Kojis out, and then you kind of just hybrid for games, similar with the with using like Kendo Garurumon to go into Lobomon to warp into Ancient Garurumon. You can splash in Jet Sylphie because that free recovery could lead to being something beneficial. But all in all, the deck has a lot of potential, especially like the Ancient Protectors, being returning one of your Digimon hybrid to 10 warrior traits from your trash to hand. Then you may play one Digimon with 10 warrior traits, or a tamer card with an inheritable effect from your hand. The play cost 4 reduced by 4. So taking that into account that it gets 6, this thing comes in for 2 costs through the Ancient Protection, which isn't bad. It has a lot of way of multi-attacking, a lot of allowing you to apply pressure. Then Gabumons definitely became Ancient Gabumons yet again. No surprise here, let's be honest. The deck just got a new tool in the Ancient Garurumon and it said, you know what, this is just enough to coming back swinging. Which nothing's wrong with that, especially if you can combo it nicely with your Gabu, go into Lobo, restand with Ancient Garurumon, and then swing in once you can get into Bonds of Friendship again, and boom, you're just really applying pressure to your opponent and being able to remove a lot of threats that way. Then we do have Pulsemon. Pulsemon got a lot of new toys to work with, and it's really showing and telling. The fact that Pulsemon can kind of just do what its own wants is not bad, especially because if you combo in at the right time with this Pulsemon here, being able to trash the top card of your security stack until you have 3 less, gain a memory for each card trash, you can combo it really nicely with Hacker's Pride, especially if you go on into Takamazuchi and then basically use Hacker's Pride to put Takamazuchi into security, use this Pulsemon to rip it away, make this thing come in for 1 cost or 0 cost, and set yourself up to go right back into Kazamazuchi. As long as Kazamazuchi's there, you can hard play the Fenri Luga, activating the Fenri Luga Takamazuchi's DNA from trash, and then resetting the board state, removing some threats, and then getting some extra attacks in. So, all in all, really good stuff. I like how the deck is coming. It's a very fun deck. Not high in the competitive aspect. Pulsemon just fails to its Fenrir counterpart. So just keep that in mind. Then we have Renamon. One major thing is we don't have the Ace Sakuyamon Ace, so you have to compensate with Maid Mode. But the deck is just kind of similar. The new Sakuyamon is pretty decent with the barrier, and then when Digivolving one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 6,000 DP for the turn, then you may use one option with plug-in in its name, or a yellow option with 5 costs or less from your hand without paying its cost, which that's why we're using Megalio Spark and Pause plugins and other stuff to really annoy your opponent's day. Pause plugin is just to help with the Magna X Antibody matchup, but all in all though, The deck has some solid footing. It topped like a couple times in JP, nothing too crazy, but hey, if we see it, maybe make a transition over here. But your turns once per turn when you use an option card with a 2 cost or more. This Digimon cannot be returned to hand or deck until the end by your opponent's effects until the end of their turn. Just a nice protection. It looks like they're starting to give decent protection across the board for a lot of the tamer stuff, and that's kind of needed because since we didn't have, you know, protections, it really made it difficult. Eosmon probably got some decent support. Let's be honest. Manoa is really solid here. You know, by trashing 1 Morpha or Eos in your hand, draw 2 cards. This gives you the search value that you kind of needed. This deck lacked in the draw, so you didn't get much value out of it long term. But you know, opponent's turn when one of your Eosmon would leave the barrier by your opponent's effects by deleting one of your other Eosmon, prevent it from leaving. Just a nice little protection skill. We always like that. The new Eosmon just only evolves for Eosmon level 5 for a 4 cost. You may play 1 level 5 or lower Eosmon from your hand without paying its cost. All turns when one of your Eosmon is deleted, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with as much or less to DP than that Digimon. And then for each tamer, all your Eosmon gets plus 1000 DP. It kind of gives the boost that the deck needed because, let's be honest, being able to apply the pressure that you need with the Eosmons is always beneficial, especially since this one lets you play one for its when attacking and gives it an extra boost. You know, this one's pretty solid as well. And then we go on and go forth. The deck has some promise, but at the end of the day, it still falls flat. Then we do have Argomon. Argomon doesn't really play nicely with its old support because it is in Digisorption, but you can definitely work with it. This Argomon is just really interesting. So on play, when Digivolving, you may place up to 4 level 5 or lower Digimon with Argomon from your trash as a bottom Digivolution. Then delete up to 4 levels total worth of your opponent's Digimon. For every 2 Argo, add in 1 maximum level to what you can choose with this effect. Then all turns for every 2 Argomon in this Digivolution gets plus 1000 DP. On opponent's turn, none of your opponent's tamers can unsuspend. So being able to lock down your opponent's shenanigans is really solid. Especially this one kind of does the same thing. Your opponent's tamers cannot unsuspend, and it suspends all tamers. Then you have this Argomon for when Digivolving into this card by suspending up to 5 cards for each tamer suspended by this effect, reduce the Digivolution cost by 1, bringing it down to being cheaper. Bonus turn, none of your opponent's tamers can unsuspend, and then if you have 5 or more Argo in trash, you may play 1 level 6 Argo from your hand without paying its cost. Really solid because it kind of just makes Argomon a little sticky. It's not bad. It has some potential. I don't see long-term this deck actually doing anything competitively, but on the local level, it should do some fun jazz. Then we have Cherubimon with the new Entilemon. It just kind of rounds out the deck a little bit more. It has Alliance. When Digivolving, you may play 1 greener level 3 or lower from your trash without paying its cost. And then end of attack, delete one of your opponent's other suspended Digimon. You may play 1 level 3 card with beast traits from your trash without paying its cost. Just hyper focuses on Lotmon and stuff like that to just get into Suzy here. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with Beast, Beastkin, or Holy Beast, or Cherubian traits among them to your hand. Return the rest to the bottom of the deck. And then when an effect suspends one of your Digimon by suspending this tamer, one of your Digimon may Digivolve into a Digimon with Beastkin, Holy Beast, or Cherubian traits from your hand for its reduced cost of 2. Not bad. I think the deck has some sort of fun mechanics going on here, but long term, I don't think we're going to see this be competitively high. Then we have Diaboromon. Diaboromon got some nice support. You could definitely play more Clock of the Ends, but at the same time, you just really want to use Clock of the End for its protection skill, not for its other skill of trying to win the game. You're just trying to protect your stack so that your opponent can't easily out it, because, you know, all turns when this Digimon would leave the battle area by an opponent's effects by deleting one of your other Diaboromon, prevent it from leaving. Not bad. I mean, an opponent's turn, one of your Clock of the Ends from this Digivolution card into the battle area. Not bad. I think we have a lot going on for it, especially with the new Armageddon. The Digimon can attack opponent's unsuspended Digimon and delete up to 15 play costs worth of opponent's Digimon. And then when you would play this by returning 13 cards with unidentified traits or Diaboromon in its text from your trash to the bottom deck, for each card return, reduce the play cost by 1. So this thing can go to a 3 cost. Not bad. I think this has potential. It can do a lot of shenanigans. This It's gotten the next wave of support that it needed a little bit, but I think it needs an X-Variety body line that protects a little bit better than just having just 1 or 2 clock of the ends. But yeah, spam tokens do go burr. Then we have Machine Dramon. Machine Dramon really only uses like Trailmon here just because while this Digimon has machine edge traits, it gains collision. That collision is really scary, especially because we do have metal rapid. Just being able to take out threats is really important, especially since we can get piercing as well. So we can just clear out, make your opponent just have a bad day, and we hit for bigger numbers, especially you comboed in when you're Chaosmon X. If you can just easily trade, if it was going to get deleted, you can use your protections to keep it live. You know, we also have Chaos Dramon here as a one of. You can just do, you know, Digi-Crossing to bring this down, but we're not really caring about the Digi-Cross, actually. We're caring about the fact that it gives a, you know, all turns when this Digimon would leave the battle area of one of your opponent's effects by trashing 2 cards with machine cyborg or SOC traits from this evolution prevent it from leaving. So being able to make it so your Chaos Dramon doesn't leave the battle area is huge in some circumstances because that's how they got rid of it earlier on. So now being able to give this to Chaosmon X is really useful. Then we do have the Collision deck. Being able to take in the account that this deck basically got a new wave of protection with its dex line. So trash when one of the coring ponding would be deleted by digivolving that Digimon into this card from trash without paying its cost, prevent that deletion. Really solid just because that protection is what this deck needed. Now the collision just can keep forcing your opponent to block, and then they can just lose out pretty quickly. Then we have the purple Fenri Luga Takamizuchi. Fenri Luga basically wants to play Takamizuchi by its when digivolving effect to get into, Kazuchimon. Then you get into Fenri Luga Takamizuchi. Deck is really solid, definitely has a lot of play lines and can go for days. So depending on what you want to do, this might be the deck for you. Then we have Imperial Dramon. Didn't get really much crazy in the wave of new support. It got Return of the Ancestor, which is a very powerful protection skill. So main one of your Digimon may digivolve into a level 5 or higher with free in its trace from your hand from its Digivolution Cross reduced by 4. Then place this card in the battle area. By digivolving that Digimon into a Digimon with Imperial Dramon in its hand without paying its cost, prevent that the deletion. So by one of your effects would be deleted other than by one of your effects. So in battle or anything like that, if they have a way of removing it, you can protect it and make it more of a threat, especially if you can get into Paladin mode. Ace is just really scary. Deck is very powerful. I don't want to scoff at this. Then we do have the War Greymon Metal Garurumon deck. Just as combos really nicely using Miracles of the Knights, just because when one of your level 6 Digimon with Greymon or Garurumon is same would leave the battle area. Other than by battle delay, that Digimon may and a Digimon in your hand may DNA digivolve into an Omnimon in your hand, just making it so now the threat disappears. Omnimon comes in, it's got raid blocker. If you DNA digivolve, choose one of your opponent's Digimon, return that Digimon and all their Digimon with the same level to the bottom of the deck, delete their Digimon. So that's really solid. Omnimon Ace is just really powerful. At the end of the day, you have a lot of going with it. The deck wants to just kind of skip evolution, which kind of what the deck does, especially because this can. If when this Digimon would be played, if you have a Tamer with Tai Kami in its name, reduce the play cost by 3, activate the effect below, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 8,000 DP or less. If you have Gabumon in its Digi-Evolution into a Metal Garurumon, one of your Gabumon may digivolve into a Metal Garurumon in a hand, ignoring its Digi-Evolution requirements without paying its cost. Just all great stuff. Same thing similar to Metal Garurumon here. You can just warp in, especially just sets you up. I think there's a lot of potential for this deck, and this deck could be scary long term. But crazy, I think we went over all the decks. So that's kind of all the decks we were going to be talking about today. There's a lot of potential for you guys to enjoy BT-17, and hopefully you guys do. There's a lot of deck building you can be done, and hopefully this meta opens up a little bit more, and it isn't just Uku dominance with Magna X. So hopefully all the new support kind of just opens up. We know we're missing like LMM stuff that really does help these lists out, but you know what? We have to make do with what we got, right? So hopefully, guys, enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.